It's us again.
Yes.
Yes.
For the third time?
Yeah, I think we've done 3 times in a row now.
Third time is the charm.
Yep.
That's what they say.
This time, Preston has no excuse. He's just playing Destiny.
Yeah.
He said that he wanted to get in on the day 1 for the new raids. So here we are again. Back to continue painting.
We're going to paint the Tentakitty again. No,
Just paint it again? No, yeah, I mean...
It's done. It's finished.
All finished? I think
time.
we finished it last time, yeah.
But it has a...
it has a rider.
It's a rider that we need to paint.
And we absolutely are going to. So, I'm excited to paint this Knoll boy. He's a cute little woofer.
And then I also have we have a based version as well.
A based.
I know. I heard it.
Yep.
I heard it in my
so are you going to go like back and forth, paint one, like using the same color type thing just to keep it consistent?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody. Good evening, Bosco. Good evening, Joe. Welcome.
Good evening, Boston Joe.
Boston Joe. Yep. Boston Joe. Not Boston Joe.
Boston Joe.
Boston Joe. Yep. I'm sorry, you guys are a celebrity couple now, according to Scott.
Yes. Ship it.
Enjoy your online relationship. Quite based, I would say. Yeah. So I'm stoked to be here tonight. And you immediately drop something. It'll be. Can I wait?
It is a glue cap, so not really.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll find it.
But yeah, how's everybody's week's been? Mine's been pretty good.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I've had an okay week. It's been kind of rainy and stuff lately, so I haven't done much outside the house, but
who needs to go outside?
Plenty to do in the house.
Yep. Episode was released last week.
Mm-hmm. Couple days ago, 2 days ago.
Yep. Technically, it's the final episode that we that even though he wasn't playing, it was the final episode where Colby was like officially a cast member.
Yeah. He has taken an indefinite leave of absence.
Yep, to spend time with his family and work on his channel and everything. He will be joining us for Pathfinder games, though.
Yes. Yeah.
He was able to have a little bit of time for that. But yeah. So yeah. Mrs. Tanaka Joe might take issue with Bosco and I being shipped. That's true. It's time to just open up that thruple space.
Thruple space sounds like
subspace, but for
kind of
for a trio.
Yeah. Come join us in thruple space.
So it's funny because I said subspace, and you and I both had very different things about what I meant there. Because you were thinking like Star Trek, like an actual sci-fi subspace, and I was thinking something completely different.
Yes.
But no, we have a next episode coming out on the 20th. Did we have that finished? Did we get that?
I didn't get it uploaded yet, but it is basically done, yes.
Okay, like we put in the final touches and already rendered it?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if we had rendered it yet.
After the podcast. I don't want to start it right before the podcast and then
stream.
Yeah, sorry, doing streamcast.
Yep.
And have everything be like super slow.
Yeah. Okay, look, if it's going to be an issue for both of you, just forget it then. No more shipping among our chat members, I suppose.
Just set your wives up together.
Perfect. Great solution, Scott. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so episode 20 is coming out Wednesday.
Can we spoil some of the surprise?
Yeah,
that's some of the things you get when you come watch our stream.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Since we no longer have Colby on the crew, we were able to bring Tori back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not able to, but she was able to come back. Yeah, she was finished with her stuff and was able to come on back. So you make it sound like one of them had to leave, But no, it was just a nice little opportunistic way to get her back in, and she's excited to play. We've had a couple games with her so far on our end.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be seeing the first of those in episode 20, and she.
No.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, this next Wednesday.
Yes, this next Wednesday.
And she is a whirlwind, I have to say. Like, it is...
Absolutely.
It is a chaotic energy that is happening, specifically because there is no buffer between her and Preston anymore, and they kind of... they kind of are the prince and princess of chaos, as it were. So
we might have to separate them, like your teachers did in class.
Yep, you might see some. Yep, the Queen of Accidental Filth has returned, and she is just as accidentally filthy as ever, and purposefully too.
Sometimes we're...
Yep, there's been a couple fun moments, but I'm very excited for you to meet her character. She's got a very energetic energy, and I'm stoked to see how she integrates with the group.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it too.
Yeah, she kind of brings a whole lot of weird little conversations with her wherever she goes.
Yes,
and I have been enjoying letting the party kind of role play among themselves because she is very much the pepper with questions kind. So yeah, it's exciting. It's good stuff. And so you'll be able to check that out on Wednesday, and then I think, is that our third episode, and then it's a break?
Ooh, yes, I think so.
I will double check.
You'd think we'd have our own schedules memorized by now.
You would think so.
We don't.
I have it all written down, it's just I don't, yeah. And then we do have our Pathfinder game. We have the first episode of that recorded.
Yep. We just finished up some of the... I guess Preston just finished up some of the asset work for it. Some of the logos and stuff, and he's working on kind of like an intro piece for it. And so as soon as he gets something like that going, we can put that out there.
Yep. I think this is our third episode. So it will be a free week after that. So, but yeah,
we'll still be streaming. We'll still have a stream.
Yep.
It'll probably be Preston unless he gets caught up in some other work stuff or something.
I probably am going to take a break and just let him take a solo reins, or see if anybody else wants to join him.
Yeah, maybe we could get Tori or down.
Yeah. A bit bittersweet. Colby's brought me to you guys, but I definitely miss Tori. Yeah, it is. It's a little bit sad, and I am not a fan of changing cast members so frequently. As Bosco points out, the Wayward Watch isn't doing much to improve their turnover rate.
Yeah, there's been a lot of deaths.
Welcome to Sari. Welcome, Dungeon Smith. Tori is playing. Oh my gosh, she's playing a. Warlock, Fighter, Sorcerer.
Yes.
I think is the three classes that she's ended up with. It is really hard to like narrow in on one of those. I know she's doing Psi Fighter or Psi Knight. I think is what the subclass is called. She actually, so it's funny because she played that whole first session and she did a lot of like melee attacks and sci-fi, or the cyanide stuff, and she only cast one spell.
Yeah.
And it was like there's a whole aspect of her character that we haven't seen yet, and that's Sorcerer and it's Warlock. And I've had some fun with talking with her about her Warlock patron and her backstory, and I've got some really good ideas. One thing I'm not, spicy fighter. One thing I'm not.
Oh, spicy indeed.
Yes. One thing that I am not thrilled about is having to like take some plans and put them on the wayside, or kind of cancel what I was going to plan there because Aloma is no longer part of everything, right? And so I'm in a little bit of a like personal, not uproar, but personal like panic, trying to correct my plot lines and fix everything up now that we've kind of switched over, and it's getting me really excited for the next campaign when I can actually have a whole party that starts together and without anybody like shifting roles or anything like that. So yeah,
unless there's another major like life thing, I think we're good.
Yeah, this should be the solid group moving forward, unless something happens.
Yeah, unfortunately.
The DM scramble indeed.
But
what is the device Scott uses to agitate/mix your paints before you use them? That would be it's called the Mini Vortexer. It is a nail polish.
It's actually made for...
Oh, this one isn't? Okay.
And then this spins. The cord's too short to bring up there. But it's actually made for, like, mixing laboratory beakers and vials and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it works really well. They make a couple... There's a couple brands
that's
that
right.
make...
The nail polish mixer we did use for a while.
Yeah, and it works okay.
And that one works fine.
But they make a couple official, like, paint mixing versions of this. Different companies do. You can find them on... They're just a vortex mixer.
Yeah.
And they spin the stuff inside really fast, and it causes it to mix together really well.
Yeah. Aloma being the next BBEG, I mean... I don't like to take people's old characters and turn them into NPCs too often. You'll notice that like Tori's coming back, but she's not playing Eve, and I'm not going. I don't plan on bringing her old player character in to talk to her new one.
It is a funny idea, though.
It is a very funny idea. I have a big problem with playing somebody else's character as the GM, just because. Like even when it's player missing, I usually just do like a brief like, oh, they go off over in this direction, or I find a reason why they wouldn't be there instead of why they're acting differently than they normally would, because I don't know the inner workings. I don't know how Bolt acts when he's not there. I don't know how Preston's character would react in most situations. I can never tell how Preston's character is going to react in any situation.
There's no way to tell.
Yeah. If I remind you through Discord, would you mind sharing a link to it with me for that mixer?
Yeah, I can post it after. I'll put it in the not homebrew, but the what's the channel?
Behind the scenes?
No, the one where the
off topic
DIY thing.
Do we have a DIY?
Yeah, there's one like crafting or something.
We have a fan art channel, a design it, tabletop crafting.
Tabletop crafting.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. I don't visit that one very often.
Well, you should.
I was looking at your cards that you have here on the table because Scott's got a couple HK Assassin Droid cards from Star Wars. They go along with the minis, right, for the game?
Yeah, for Star Wars Liege.
Yeah, because that droid was the basis for Tarvos, the droid that you were playing. You needed a mini form, and I looked on the back, and I don't know if you've seen the back, but they're mythosaurs, the mythosaur symbol from Mandalorian.
Oh, nice.
That the Mandalorian.
So they're Mandalorian droids.
Yep, and it just made me realize that the second episode of Mandalorian was super amazing, and if you haven't seen it yet, you really should. We're not going to spoil it or anything because it's only been a couple days, but it is a fantastic episode, and it has some really cool creatures in it. That's for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, there's some lore stuff that shows up that I didn't really know. You had to explain it to me.
Oh yeah.
I'm not that big into the Star Wars lore most of the time. So.
And you haven't watched all of the Clone Wars or anything either, so.
I tried, but life gets in the way.
Not much news on the house. Well, that's okay. Some weeks you get more done than others.
Yeah, as long as did you say you're living in it now?
Yeah, I thought he said that they moved out of the trailer. But yeah, I'm
House report.
There's definitely it's definitely bittersweet for me too, because like Colby brought a certain amount of energy we're losing that energy, but we're also gaining back the energy that we lost with Tori, which is more of a like she's got a high like energy level that I love to have in the game too. So it's sort of a nice little trade-off there, but it's still like I'd rather have everybody. If that makes sense. But sometimes that's not in the cards.
Yeah, and I think that when Tori was playing Eve, some of her personal energy and personality was kind of not squandered, but like kind of suppressed, I guess.
Because Eve was very much a passive character.
Yeah, more calm.
And Tori definitely gets into her role in both in character and out of character. Like she's the type of actress that will emulate her character in order to keep the same energy going.
Agreed.
Without having to switch between it. Still working on the trim. 3 windows swapped out of 6. Needed to be changed. Countertops ordered, and they've been in it around Thanksgiving since around then. Yeah, so.
At least you're not living in the trailer anymore. That's got to be nice.
It is very nice.
Cory can attest to this. Half my house is, or maybe like a third of my house has got spots that need to be, all the finish work needs to be done. There's always like paint that needs to be applied or something needs to be sanded or, it's hard to do that stuff while you're living in it.
And we're also, like, you just got the bathroom finished, and that was a huge, like...
Yeah, I just got the basement bathroom done.
So what are we starting to here?
So I'm doing just a fur color, because that's the deepest part of the model. It's going to be the hardest to paint.
Mm-hmm. What color are you going with?
Just Gore Grunta fur from from Citadel.
Gore Grunta fur?
Gore Grunta fur.
Okay. That is very cool. But yeah, I mean, I saw it. You see that smoke coming out of his mouth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, smoke coming out of his mouth. And then I was thinking about for his, like, mohawk thing that he's got.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about doing, like, an orange.
Ooh, orange hawk.
I got some cool orange I could do.
You could also make it matching the tendril spikes if you wanted to do, like, the acidic green in his hair. That could be cool.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
I'd have to get the inks out, but I could do that.
First time my fiance played D&D, it was my old 3.5 campaign for one session, and wanted to secretly be an evil character. After she left with permission, she became the right hand of the BBEG. Nice. And that's completely fine. Like, if you have a player from the beginning that you're like, hey, I've got this idea, if you're going to be a betrayer to the party at some point, and they're on board with it, great. Just don't go to one person. If they reject, go to another person, because then, like, it might be like, oh, well, I said no, I didn't want to do that.
Or secret trick, go to all of your players and have all of them become
betrayers.
Well, it was like, and make sure that none of them can tell each other.
Yeah. It was like we were watching Dimension 20 when they did their evil campaign with Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
And Brennan completely expected everybody to turn on each other for a final fight, and they all decided to work together instead of, like, trying to become the new Dark Lord. And he's like, well, now I gotta make you guys face, somebody else, I suppose.
Yeah. That's because all the players are like, no, we like playing, we like helping.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's...
It's like the whole, my power fantasy in life is to be able to help everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Not hurt everyone. I don't want power to become a jerk.
Yeah.
I want power and money to be able to help my friends and family and people in need, and
Welcome, Brian. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Joe likes my green hair idea.
Okay. All right. I'll do the green hair, and I'll have it match the like kind of like caustic spikes that the Tinted Kitty has.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, like, the orange is a really cool idea.
But I'll do orange on he has like a fur, like, shawl.
Ooh, yeah, almost like fox fur thing. Almost, right?
Like a half cloak thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do some orange there.
She gained the PC given name the Lady in Black and was more hated than the BBEG himself.
Nice.
Yes, the Dolores Umbridge syndrome. Can we talk about Harry Potter again? Or is it still a no-no?
I guess.
So, yeah.
What are we talking about?
No, I just mean because of all the controversy.
Oh. Well, it depends. Some people, it's always a no-no. Other people,
As far as we go, like, you didn't really grow up with Harry Potter the way that I did.
Not really, yeah.
But it was like one of the first book series that I read and really got into. So
yeah, I can see how it's a staple in a lot of people's lives.
Mm-hmm. So yes, we're going to mention it because it's a cultural staple. Not that we approve of anything that the author is deciding to say on it, because, screw that.
Well, and there's so much media like that too, where it's like the author says one thing and the media says no,
Alfred Hitchcock is a prime example. That guy was a bastard, everybody loves his stuff. I love
everything like Cthulhu related, but
yeah, but H.P. Lovecraft is definitely not a
cat's name.
Yep, it's not a role model to go after for sure. Yeah, so we won't get too deep into the weeds on that, but
I just
but I'm not going to shy away from making references to the franchise. I don't think.
No, I don't think you have to. You should.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of artists, especially throughout history, that they have a lot of good art, but not good. They're not good people, or they didn't have great views, or it was product of the time, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, like we were talking the other day with Dallin about how Mrs. Doubtfire couldn't be made today.
Oh, yeah.
Like we don't really think that could work in this in the current climate,
might
right?
Be kind of difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still a fun movie, and it's kind of a classic. So
yeah.
But that's the great thing about art is like you can look back on those stuff and go, oh wow, well they did that in a completely different way because of the times.
Just look at Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Look at the stuff that Walt Disney has, and then look at the stuff that they tried to suppress for years until people started going, hey, you can't say no to your history, your past. And they went, okay, well, we'll just put a disclaimer that says hey, back when this was made, et cetera, et cetera.
She created the world, we created the fandom. I can like the art, but not the artist. Exactly, yeah.
I love Star Trek, but Gene Roddenberry wasn't a great person sometimes.
No, he was a womanizer. Yeah. And that definitely. Like Rick Berman.
Oh, Rick Berman was terrible.
Yeah, he was awful, but he gave us Voyager. He was Voyager, right?
To some people, that's a negative.
That's true.
Not to me. I love Voyager. That's kind of the one I grew up with. So,
is there any Star Trek that you actively dislike?
No, I used to say the original series just because it was so cheesy and campy.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I've watched it, the more I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, which is classic 50s or 70s sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like 50s sci-fi in the 70s, but
60s
still.
and 70s. They did a lot with the little budget they had, and no, I can't say I'm one of those fans where you can mention any Star Trek and I go, oh yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
And part of the fun for me is watching shows when I'm a fan. I like watching the shows, even the bad stuff. I don't know about you, but I really like watching the terrible things too, because
the bad episodes would be
the bad episodes. I think they're fun. I think they're fun.
Oh man, that was awful. Oh, great.
Get to see all the goofy stuff that happened and
Shatner. Everything else is fine. I just don't like Shatner.
Yeah.
And yet Mel Brooks just went ahead and made History of the World Part 2. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is I haven't seen that yet. I've been wanting to watch it. But yeah, a Mel Brooks show is definitely, that brings with it a certain, he's got a certain sense of humor that definitely isn't the norm nowadays, but it's a sense of humor that I grew up on. I grew up watching Spaceballs and Men in Tights, and I loved those shows.
Oh man, I watched Spaceballs so much growing up. Holy crap.
Speaking of Fox for the House nearing completion, we're looking to resume our campaign with Renard, but we have to resolve the loss of 2 players moving away.
Oh no.
Yeah, it sucks.
Can you do a remote play?
Oh yeah, remote play would be pretty good.
Because that's been way better over the last few years with Roll20 and Discord and Zoom and all the different there's so many different apps and stuff available that. There's even a whole bunch of stuff on Steam that you can share your screen, digital maps and things like that, soundboards, etc.
Tried to watch Picard on streaming. I just thought trying to turn Patrick Stewart into a CGI action star was sad. Yeah, so we have mixed feelings about Picard. Season 3's been pretty good so far, but we feel like they were trying to tap into nostalgia in the wrong places with it. Is kind of what we agreed on there. Is we like it, but the nostalgia that they're trying to foster to get likes on that show is not the nostalgia that we want.
Yeah. So season 1, I enjoyed fairly well. I thought season 2, I didn't like season 2 very much. There's just kind of, to me, I felt it kind of boring. The first few episodes I was like, yeah, great, this is awesome, and then I was like, okay, wait, what? We're still doing this? We're still stuck in the past. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be the whole season? Great. And I just kind of, it's not what I want to see. The other thing, too, and I was telling Cory this, is I love Patrick Stewart, but he's old. He is so old.
And you can tell.
And his voice is not wrong, but it's definitely sounds different than the one I grew up with.
It sounds tired.
Yeah, it does.
That's really my problem with it. Is that he just sounds tired. He's like, I don't want to do this, but I need the money. kind of
thing. I signed on for three seasons. So Patrick Stewart actually has been on record saying that he wanted Picard to be more of an action star. Hence why when you watch some of the movies,
he kind of
there is very much a lot of action oriented stuff because he was very cerebral in the show, and like I said, he personally wanted him to be more, more of a little bit of a ladies' man, more of an action star.
Yeah. That's how you got the Die Hard episode.
Yeah.
Of TNG.
Yeah, with the Barry on sweep.
Yeah, Joe, we're gonna go ahead and just I won't get too deep into what Rowling said, but yeah, Google it later.
Google it.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be all right. Just because I don't really want to get into that on stream. Yeah. That's not something that I have too much of a stake in, other than the fact that I think that equality and letting people live the life they want to live is not up to me. But yeah.
Just Google her name and then controversy, and you'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or someone else can explain it in the chat if they feel like it. But please be civil.
So, is History of the World Part 2, is it a movie or is it a series? Because it's on Hulu, and when I see Hulu next to something, I think series.
They do movies on Hulu.
Yeah, but I've never watched. Oh, I've watched one Hulu movie, and that was the princess one.
Oh,
the Die Hard princess one.
Princess in the Tower.
Yeah, that one was good. It got kind of bad reviews.
Who's that actress? She was in something else.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
That was fairly recent that I went, oh yeah, okay.
I will look it up. I don't even remember the movie.
I think it was like Tower Princess.
Which
makes it sound like she's from Adventure Time.
Tower Princess?
Tower Princess.
It's just called The Princess.
Okay. Tower Princess is just a really tall princess. Like, really tall.
It's Joey King is her name.
Okay.
Let's see what else she's been in.
Yeah, the name won't help me.
It is an 8-episode streaming series. I knew it. I knew it was a series. Yeah.
Okay.
She was in Bullet Train.
Oh yeah.
She was the girl in that, the main girl. Yeah. The Kissing Booth 3, I know you watched all. Oh, she's in all the Kissing Booths. I know you watched those.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Religiously.
Mm-hmm.
I know all about the Kissing Booths.
She was in Slender Man, that 2018 awful one. She was in The Flash as Magenta, if you remember that villainess for one episode.
Don't.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was the CW, so she had breathy, sexy acting. That's what the director told her to do.
Yep. Oh, hey, you're a female in the female villain in the Arrowverse. Well, then you have to be seductive or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be a normal person. You have to talk like this.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the plot was very middling.
For the princess.
For the princess, but the fight choreography was pretty good on it.
Yeah.
Also, it's always nice to see Preacher again and again, whatever his name is actual.
Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, Dominic.
Montague.
No, it's not.
Hominum.
Dominic something or other.
You should know he's in WoW.
Yeah, he's in the Warcraft movie. He's not really good in that. Sorry.
No one's really good in that.
He actually wasn't too good in this one either. Where is he? He is in this, right?
In Preacher?
No, in...
Oh, so he's like a preacher. And now we get
Cooper. Dominic Cooper.
There,
yep. That is his name.
He's no Carl Urban.
Nope. That's true.
He's Wish. He's Carl Urban. Carl Urban. We have Carl Urban at home.
Anyone else watching Dimension 20 Never After? I have not seen it yet. We are very behind on Dimension 20.
So behind. So don't feel bad about spoiling it. We're so far behind that it wouldn't really matter.
She's in Independence Day Resurgence as well as Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember she had a fairly recognizable face.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked if she was in a police procedural, and I'm trying to see White House Down.
Wait, who hasn't been in a police procedural?
Oh, she was in The Conjuring.
Who hasn't been in like NCIS or CSI or something?
She's in The Dark Knight Rises as older prison child.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, is that the one where... Is it the prison where Bane is in?
I have no idea.
Because that's the only prison I know of that has children in it.
Yeah. She was in a couple episodes of Ghost Whisperer, which is kind of... She was in a couple episodes of CSI.
Yeah, told ya. Who hasn't been?
Yeah, I mean,
every actor gets their.
The lower you go, you
stars,
get to those.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
In police procedurals.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. There's so much fur, but it's also in super annoying spots.
Yeah.
This guy, yeah.
Ooh, camera's blurry.
That's because it's probably focusing on my hair or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like it's a null.
Yeah.
I like how you say, like, there's so much fur and it's annoying, but it's like, that's just, you'd have to paint the whole model anyway if it wasn't fur.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't say that it's just the fur. It's all the extra bits on top of the fur that stop me from just, like, slathering the whole thing in paint.
Started our Norse mythology campaign last Friday. Had to change from Hexadin to Divine Soul Sorceridin because Joe Spawn number 2 decided to play a Sorlock Blaster Caster instead of our cleric. Very cool. I love a good Norse
mythology.
Yeah, that's my stroke for the evening.
Yep.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed that.
I had one on camera the other day where I'm like, oh, hold on, let me reset.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I actually watched that from the pre-edits today.
Yeah.
And what you say is a little dirty, but I thought we could leave it in. What you accidentally Freudian slip instead of what you call it.
It's the artist's thinly veiled kink, right?
Yep.
I love that when I'm like reading comic books and I'm like, oh look, yet another person is hogtied.
Are you referring to Wonder Woman?
Well, yeah, but there's also a bunch of other artists that do that kind of stuff too. It's like, yeah, now we know what your kink is. Got it. Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's cool. You basically get carte blanche to tell an artist to do whatever they want, and sometimes you just be like, hey, I want to see this specific thing.
Yeah.
That's what I do with Preston every Friday, but we haven't gotten to my kinks yet.
Wait, what, the squid lady wasn't?
Oh, okay. So we've gotten to one of my kinks.
What about the mimic?
No, that I had no hand in that. I take no responsibility.
That was the art. That was mimic. The audience's.
Yeah, that was audience kink. Yep.
Oh, got it.
Just got 2 new full casters in my campaign Wednesday night. I think they're going to be great. First session was First session I was happy with after the fact in a few. Yeah, there are sessions that we end and I turn to Scott after everybody leaves and I'm like, was that okay? I feel very weird about that. And I will spend the next day in a little bit of a tizzy over how bad it was and how much I thought, and then I'll get a good night's sleep and I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, I'm calm about it now. But yeah,
the problem is for us is we play late.
Yeah,
and so I feel like sometimes when we start getting tired because we've had the whole day doing whatever in the whole week, we all start messing up our words or saying not exactly what we wanted to say, and so when we get done we're like, oh man, that was dumb. I didn't do well, and I think a lot of it's just being tired, honestly. Because I feel like if this is how I try to remind myself this too, they wouldn't play with you if they weren't having fun.
Yeah,
they're gonna make up a bunch of excuses and never show up. If they aren't having fun, and so if they keep showing up, then they're having fun and you're doing well.
Exactly.
So I have something to talk about.
Sure.
Unless you have something on that point.
No. We're good.
So just a minute ago, I don't know who said it, but someone in the chat said that they had to switch classes because they didn't have cleric.
That was Joe.
So how do you feel about that kind of stuff where some people feel like you need to have a healer of sorts, like a dedicated healer?
I don't think it's required. I think that if you want to play a game for the story and for the role play of it, not having a healer just makes the game more fun, or not having a wizard makes the game more fun in certain aspects, right?
Yeah.
Not having a dedicated role means that you have to work around that and everything. Like if you don't have a trap finder, you have to find ways to find your own traps and disable them without having a rogue, being able to do that stuff.
Well, and I think part of it is probably on the DM, because if the DM builds a campaign or a game around, the ultimate party, right? Healer, tank, DPS, right?
Yep.
And I think they're probably doing something a little incorrectly, just because you're not adjusting on the fly, for that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I personally am the same way. I don't feel like you need to have a dedicated thing. That's why whenever I get friends to play, they start asking questions like, "Well, do you need me to play heals or something?" Like, no, don't worry about it. This is what I told my Aetheris game. I was like, "You guys play whatever you want to play," and this is even Pathfinder. Play whatever you want to play. I will figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
As the DM, I will figure it out so that it's not just brutally hard or super easy for you.
Yeah, because we don't have a dedicated healer in our Pathfinder game. We have a lot of sub healers, like minors, people who are minor in healing.
Yep.
But they major in something else.
Yeah, and I feel like I try to reassure every one of my friends that I get to play. You can play whatever you want. I don't care how crazy you think it's going to be. I don't care, if someone else in the group is trying to pressure you into something that you don't want to do, please let me know as the DM, so that
I can tell them to stop.
I can tell them to stop. Be like, no,
yeah.
We don't do this.
Yep.
You don't tell them they're playing their character wrong. If they ask and say, how do I do X, Y, Z? You can give them advice. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But please don't give unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
Unless it's something like, they're like, oh man, I think I'm gonna attack this turn, and it's like, oh hey, don't forget, you've also got that other spell too that you can play, and people, oh yeah, okay, sounds great, cool.
But don't play their entire turn for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be like, I don't think you should do that. That's not tactically, we should focus on this guy. Yeah. And that was one thing. Going back to the healer thing, that in our first campaign, we didn't really have a healer.
Yeah.
With the broken spear,
Oh, sorry. I was thinking our 4th edition campaign. That is my first edition.
No, yeah, we did have a healer in that one though. The warlord is technically a healer. It's a leader class, or a leader spec. No, we had it was a wizard, a fighter, a monk, and a barbarian, and a bard, right? Mm-hmm. And the bard kind of had a little bit of healing. Preston had a little bit there, but
and a staff of healing. Yeah.
And that was how I worked around it. Is I provided him with the staff of healing that he could actually attune to, instead of it being just only available for certain classes. Oh. Sorry. And it worked out really well. And, it's just every now and then he would use it to heal, and then they'd continue on. And it was just a as-needed situation.
Once Eve wasn't in the picture anymore.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a healer.
Yeah, so. Not that Eve. I don't really consider Eve a healer. I considered her like a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really didn't have too much of a healer. You guys had all your own individual healings, and you could spot heal everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the main reason why Bolt goes around telling everybody,
don't forget
your healing potions. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the getting antsy without access to revivify, but sometimes it's fun to have your players die or your characters die, not the players.
Fun to die.
I've never killed a character. Legitimately.
I would hope that you've never killed a player.
Yeah, I've never killed one legitimately. I should say.
You've never legitimately killed a player.
Yes,
just accidentally.
Yeah, I've killed one PC in a combat, and we all know that one. But that was not a. I don't consider that a legitimate kill.
Wakes up in a dankus sweat at night thinking about that one.
Yeah, that was. It still haunts me to this day.
I keep telling him it's fine.
Yeah. It's our most controversial episode.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Up until episode 20, which you guys can watch next Wednesday. I'm just
19 was the one with Charmed, right?
Oh yes, we should talk about Charmed and Dangerous.
Yeah.
Because Bolt Bolt's been having kind of a rough time. A lot of the monsters that I've been putting you guys up against have been
very like
wisdom attack and psychic based ones.
Wisdom saves.
Yep. And you've been charmed multiple times over the course of the campaign, the second half of this campaign. I apologize.
No, don't. I thought they've all been great. Things.
But that particular moment, and if you haven't seen that episode, go watch it. It's great, where Bolt gets, and it's right at the beginning, so this really isn't a spoiler, but Bolt gets charmed.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, and it makes for a great couple moments in the session, but I always worry about it.
Well, we had a weird
constantly.
We had a weird question about Charmed, and we had to go look it up because we weren't 100% sure on all the details.
Yeah, so I mean, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome, Richard.
Welcome.
When you're charmed Charmed always says that if your allies attack the charmed creature, they get to make another saving throw, or the charmed ends, basically, right? Mm-hmm. What about if you're charmed and your allies attack you?
So in this case, Bolt was charmed.
Mm-hmm. Bolt was charmed. Victor attacked him to try and knock him out of it, and that's not really something that charmed covers typically.
Yeah.
It's just not something, because... Yeah, and I'm sure this is something that has already been settled, and I just don't know about it because we don't really deal with enchantment magic too much. I personally think it's the most nefarious type of magic, and it's worse than necromancy in my opinion. That will always be my character's opinion. Is somebody raising the dead's just using
They're just recycling.
They're recycling. Yeah, I mean if it's mindless undead, if they're bringing back the souls of the dead, that's coercion, just like enchantment is.
Yeah, well, it's because it's a lack of control and consent, right?
Yeah.
That's why it feels so nefarious. Is because it's oh man, they're controlling you against your will. Mm-hmm. Whereas with a revivify, it's there's always that catch of if the soul is willing,
yeah,
come back type of a deal.
Yeah, so they can choose not to. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, that's an interesting thing.
Bolt needs a mini arc to train against those kind of attacks, Bosco says.
Yeah. Yeah, so... Did we level?
Yeah, you did level at the end of that episode.
At the end of that episode.
No, wait, no. No.
One before.
Sorry. Nope, you haven't leveled yet.
Oh, okay.
That's coming up here soon.
Spoilers, we will level sometime.
Yes.
But, in a game where there's levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of regret a little of the no headband of intellect, Because I'm ooh, that'd be nice to have now.
But I mean,
is that just intellect, or does that give you wisdom?
No, it's just intellect.
No, I need a headband of wisdom.
I don't know if there is a wisdom item. I'll look it up.
Yeah, but you were apologizing to me because I think you were worried that there could be maybe some. Feelings about taking away my player's agents, or my character's agency.
Exactly, yeah.
But it wasn't a full-blown control, it was a charm, which was the character was just help me get out of here, and Bolt's yeah, okay, you're a friend, I help friends. Sure, yep. I'll help you,
And that was basically, I was trying to think of, normally characters that do charm magic are a bit more nefarious with it. Mm-hmm. But I think that Grimm, she's the type of girl who grew up with that kind of enchantment magic being used in a more subtle way and learning how to manipulate properly with it.
Yeah.
That was kind of the character that I was going with for her. So her being able to be oh yeah, I can kind of weave this in a way that I know you'll follow me based on our limited interactions, or just based on what she knows about people, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, she could have made a very big tactical error there with Bolt being hey, protect me, and Bolt being I don't protect my friends at all,
yeah.
She didn't know that for sure.
Yeah.
She kind of took a shot in the dark with that one.
Gambled with it.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I know that, but I try not to be oh yeah, I'm specifically going to use this against this character.
Push your meta knowledge onto the characters themselves.
Let's see.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. was a fun thing. And at first, I thought maybe it would be a full blown like total mind control thing. But then when we started reading through Charm, it was like, oh no, I just consider them friendly, you know, like if I had bad feelings against them before, I no longer.
Yeah,
do,
exactly.
Yep. So. And then Victor hits me with a dagger, and I'm like, oh, Bolt would be like, you jerk.
Yeah.
Why are you hitting me?
Like, why are you attacking me? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just trying to help another friend.
You're already on my shit list for handing me cursed item.
Yeah. I've asked my DM to homebrew me a headband of wisdom because it doesn't exist. Yeah. I don't see it in there. I don't see anything with wisdom in there. To be honest, giving somebody an item like a headband of intellect or gauntlets of ogre power or belt of giant strength, that is a very powerful item because it essentially takes away a vulnerability, right? Like you're literally, it's more taking away a vulnerability than anything else would, in my opinion, other than something that gives you like immunity to being charmed or something like that. The episode fully inspired me to start something I've been tossing around for a while. Rules for different stages of emotional disposition, specifically in NPCs. So there is technically in the Dungeon Master's Guide rules on how to interact with people as far as persuasion goes, where it's like the DC is depending.
It's the chapter How to Win Friends and
alienate people. I know that's not how it goes, but that's how I always hear it.
I can never remember the full title.
So there is a specific. It's either in the DMG or it's in the PHB where it talks about persuasion helping improve your relationship level with somebody. You know, where they're from hostile to neutral to friendly to ally, that type of thing. And most DMs just don't use those rules, just because it's an extra thing to track when we don't need to track it.
Yeah.
Because if you introduce an enemy to the group, and the group tries to persuade him, you know that that's already an enemy. You don't need to be like, okay, well, what exactly is his disposition to the party, and what does that make the DC? It's just like, no, this is just going to be a hard DC.
Yeah, well,
so it's more intuitive.
That's the like, I want to use my charisma check to charm them, and it's like, okay, cool, but this person is mad at you, and they don't care how charming you are. Their whole goal was to fight you. You know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Two of my best sessions revolved around PCs getting charmed and wreaking havoc on their allies. It's actually the only time my wife's rogue has gotten close to going down. And then Richard said that he had a 3rd edition party nearly get wiped out by a longbow fighter getting dominated by an evil spellcaster. Ambush round took down everyone but the barbarian. Oh, shit. Yeah, Bosco, I don't know exactly the specific location of that, but I do believe that there is something that explains that in the DMG or the player's handbook. So.
Yeah, my friend was running a dungeon in a box type of deal where it's like they send you the pre-built, and she was asking questions. She's like, so there's this this captain who's possessed by a ghost, and somehow they're able to not charm but like full on dominate another person.
Yeah.
And in the book, it's like you go after the person that is the strongest or that appears the strongest, you know. So she's like, it'll be the one carrying the giant axe, and she's like, I'm afraid because that person has built their character in an optimized manner, and I'm afraid my whole party is going to get just smoked.
Yeah.
I need to ask her how it went, because...
Oh, yeah, because if that's already happened, I'd like to know, too.
Yeah, because I was trying to give her some advice, like, oh, geez, because she was asking, like, what should I do? What kind of help can I, Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know, because that's tough, because, the strongest person is the toughest to fight,
Yeah.
But I was like, well, maybe there's a MacGuffin that controls them, or maybe there's a way to break the charm. Every time they get hit with something, then they have a chance to break out of it or something.
Yeah. Similarly to charm spells, how do you feel about cursed items, specifically things that might change a character's alignment or take them over? I don't use them very often for that particular reason, because it's taking away player agency. It's the same with so I have two problems with it. One, it's doing something to the player that's actively like hurting the character that rather than just being like, this is a consequence of your action. It's just kind of like, yeah, I pick up this sword in a dungeon. That's something that normal adventurers do, and then suddenly it's taking over my mind. It's like, no, I don't really like that. I don't do that very often. I've done like one cursed item, I think, in this entire campaign, and it was the one that Victor handed Bolt.
Yeah.
But that wasn't
even that you were like, you know.
And the only reason I did that is because I knew you had a cleric in your party.
Yeah.
That could do remove curse. And that's the other reason why I don't do it, is remove curse and remove disease, because I categorize diseases in the same category as curses. Is so easy to do, you can just, like, it's kind of worthless, except for at low levels. Like, I remember one time when we did a disease successfully. Jeez, I can't not talk tonight. And that was before anybody had that available to them. Mm-hmm. And it was mummy rot.
Yeah.
Remember, like it killed the paladin, and then you guys had to bring, you had to get help bringing them back, and they ended up like being infused as a ghost in a set of armor.
Yeah, Ulrich.
Ulrich, yeah, in Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Full Metal.
Full Metal.
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, or just Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, so I don't like doing it because I know that, especially when the party is. Like, at the time when I introduced, like, a disease, or when I was thinking about it, or doing, like, the curse that Bolt did, I was like, there's every chance that Colby is just going to immediately, like, be like, let's take a long rest so that we can cure this. Because that's what Aloma did for their curse that they got on the Night of Slaughter. Remember?
Yeah.
Like they got cursed in their hand, and it was like giving them a bane on checks and stuff, and they're like, oh well, I definitely like want to remove that, and that's great. But at the same time, it's like, because you have access to that, it means that this is more of a trivial. Yeah, it's more of a minor inconvenience rather than a cool character arc that you go on. You know.
I don't like the idea of putting a item or something in the game that's cursed that will take away the player agency without giving them a way to get around it. And I'm not saying right away, but I'm talking about, like, don't give them an item that's like, the item forces you to, jump into that lava. That kind of thing, right? So I don't like that because, again, player agency stuff.
Yep.
Give them plenty of opportunity to be like, this thing is cursed, and you can feel that it just wants. Mm-hmm. It wants a blood sacrifice of whoever would touch it, type of a thing.
Yep.
And then if they decide to choose it, you can be like, are you sure? Okay, well, you touched it, and here's what happened.
Yep.
But at least at that point, it's their choice, right?
Yeah.
Not just like it just looks like a normal mace.
Yep.
And then they pick it up, and then it's like, I gotcha.
I had, so we played, when we did Broken Spear, we were playing with the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. That was what I was running, and one of the players, the barbarian, picked up Hazaron, which is like this evil sentient sword.
Yeah.
And started using it, and it's a great sword. It does like 2d10 extra necrotic damage with it every hit. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's amazing. And they were using it, and I was kind of like, when I saw that I was going to give one of them that at level 8, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to put a twist on it though. And start, make it a proper cursed blade that tries to manipulate them and eventually take them over, stuff, right? Yeah. And we did eventually have the fight where Hazaron took full control and attacked, and used the barbarian to attack everybody. And it was a really great session. Everybody loved it. But then I could tell the barbarian was very sad when they no longer had the weapon afterwards. And it's like, yeah, losing that weapon after so long would be very hard to do. Also, Richard, I am very jealous that you actually got to play a World of Warcraft RPG campaign. I want to do that someday myself. Because all the world building's done for me. I could just DM or a campaign.
Yeah, and I think, like, the Hazaron thing, it's one of those, like, you can take this cursed item, but, like, eventually it might turn on you, type of a thing. And as long as the player is cool with it.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of something you have to judge as the DM, whether or not you want to let them know how much of the the lore or whatever is gonna happen. Like,
yeah.
hey, before you go down this path, I need to tell you a little bit about some of the consequences. And yes, it might be this might be some, game spoilery stuff, but
yeah,
I feel like if I don't tell you,
then you're just gonna
be blindsided, and you're not gonna be happy about it.
Never take away a player's item unless you talk to them about it first.
Yeah,
that has been my experience. Is never be like, oh yeah, your +2, flaming sword that you've had for levels and absolutely love gets dissolved by the rust monster, the magically enhanced rust monster.
So
and it's like, oh shit.
Here's how I would handle that particular instance, okay? And this may not be how anyone else would, but for me it would be, I would show the rust monster destroying something mundane that didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Some other dagger, some piece of armor that can easily be replaced, part of a shield.
Yeah.
And then put it in their heads this
could happen.
So then if they're like, I'm going to attack with the sword, okay, here do your damage, but also a huge chunk of it gets melted away. Mm-hmm. Maybe not totally destroy it, but make it be significantly damaged.
I don't think rust monsters can actually do that to magic items, obviously, but
I understand what you're saying. That it was a good example to try to point out
yeah,
again, and this is the whole
hey, this is a thing.
Let them make their own agency choices, but you've got to give them some information beforehand.
And as far as being a player goes, I'm completely okay if I lose magic items to some sort of plot without being told. So this is me telling you as my DM, do not be afraid to take away any of my toys.
Okay.
I will be in shock, but I will be completely okay with it because it is. Well, it's always, in my opinion, it just means another step in the story, right? If I lose the Darksaber, it just means that I have to try and find something else. Yeah. For example.
Well, and I think
that's an example. I don't actually have a character that has the Darksaber. Then
I think that you and I trust each other enough that it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah,
because I know if you're going to do something to my characters, I know that you've got a plan in the future for it. There are probably some groups and DMs that struggle with that, where they feel like the DM's just against them. Mm-hmm. And I know that you're not against me. I know that you have ideas and storylines and stuff, and anything you do in the short term can be remedied in the long term. And I'm not saying that you're just going to give me everything I want, obviously, but it'll definitely be I'm not just going to harm you for the sake of harming you.
Yeah, exactly.
I will give you opportunities to make it better, get better stuff.
Yeah. Richard, I have the Warcraft 3.5 supplement books and the World of Warcraft RPG, full RPG that they designed, that I think was based off of 3.5, and it always looked like a lot of fun. In fact, that was what got me into D&D, was the Warcraft ones, because I saw them, I thought they were really cool.
Yeah, they're sitting on your shelf upstairs.
Yep, and I grabbed the the Warcraft RPG Player's Handbook or supplement book and started reading through it, and I was like, what the heck is a prestige class? What, for a druid? Where's the actual druid class in here? And then I read that I needed the Player's Handbook for D&D, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I got the D&D books, and I played one game.
Capitalists love you.
Yeah.
Oh, I need another thing to buy?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, I'll buy it.
And I only played one game in 3.5 with some friends. No.
I buy everything.
Yeah. I just played with a couple friends one night, just randomly at a sleepover. And it wasn't really I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I still ran the game, and it was just okay, that was fine. And I completely forgot about D&D until 4th edition came out, and I started listening to I started watching Acquisitions Incorporated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I started listening to their podcast for it, and then found some other podcasts, and I was like, this is really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this. This game sounds really cool. I want to run a game of it,
Yep, and then you got a couple friends together, a cousin.
And then some of them left, and then you came in, and then it was
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. And now I'm doing this.
Now you can't get rid of me.
It's true.
You tried to take away my healing powers with a cursed item. You try. You can't get rid of me that easily. Okay. So I've got the fur done.
Regarding destroyed items, DM should definitely roll into that a reforging scenario. Oh, absolutely. Like if you destroy an item, you better make it so that your players can remake it.
Mm-hmm. He did with Sarai. She lost her magic weapon that was the Choir of the Crags, and you were able to work it out with Colby to get him. What was it? A halberd or something?
It was the
double-sided,
the double-ended scimitar that elves
do. Not Icarus, Kid Icarus blade. That's kind of what I thought.
It is. Yep, it is. Yeah,
it was like the Kid Icarus.
Blade. Yeah, and I had you guys go through that, and obviously, like, there's. If it were another player, I probably could have been like, okay, this will be a quest that you have to go on to forge a new weapon, you know. But because it was Colby, it was either I give him this pretty quickly, or he wants to go back to town immediately to buy a +2. Else, buy a +2 weapon.
He
because
definitely likes
he does not want to, like Colby is a player who does not want to go a minute without full optimization.
Right.
And that makes it hard to have good character arcs for sometimes, in my opinion.
Yeah, it can.
So we've got the base coat done, or the fur.
I got the fur done. Boots with the fur. Everyone was looking at Gur. Because Gur.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Next, I'm gonna do like right here, where that's the. I'll do the orange, and then I'm gonna do the hair in a green. But yeah, I got both of them done.
Nice. Acquisitions Inc. just launched a Kickstarter for season 2 to be DM'd by Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins. What? The World of Warcraft or the WotC kiss and make up tour rolls on. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I loved. I was disappointed that Will Wheaton and Scott Kurtz had a big falling out.
Oh yeah.
Because
were they both on that?
Yeah. Or... So Will Wheaton joined in like the second or third iteration or second campaign thing that they did, as like their fourth member.
Yeah.
And he played like 3 or 4 times and then left because he had creative differences with Scott Kurtz. Because Scott Kurtz is
haven't I heard things that he's a jerk?
Scott Kurtz is a very abrasive person. He's got a very abrasive personality. Whether or not that means he's a jerk or just it means that he's very much the kind of person that acts like an a-hole in order to be fun, kind of thing. Like that's kind of the personality. And some people can handle that and some people can't. And Will Wheaton's one of the type of people that's just like, I don't want to deal with those types of people. So I don't need to, right?
Doesn't leave it in life.
But they did bring in Patrick Rothfuss, which I do enjoy him as their fourth member as well. So
the Name of the Wind guy.
Yes. Yep. He's doing that instead of writing. Which I feel sorry for him because he literally cannot do anything but write, and people will, without people hating him for it, because he they're all waiting for book 3,
Oh man!
Can't find anything like dispositions in DMG/PHB emotional. I doubt it's in there. Okay.
Maybe it's in one of the supplement books or
books. It might be in like Xanthar's or something like that. I swear that I've seen something about that.
Or maybe it's been in one of the like third-party books.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it was in.
I know it's in 3.5. Maybe. Scott, where are the apple bottom jeans on this thing? Can we do Can we do a blue jean on the look on the cloth or?
Yeah, I can do blue. I think blue's a cool color to do.
Yeah. Orange, blue, and brown. Perfect colors. Perfect color scheme.
Who cares?
Yeah, that's true.
This Knoll guy doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a crap.
That's true.
He's just here to make war.
Mm-hmm. He is a technically in the context of where he comes from, he is a Knoll war leader, specifically. In the context, I'm not going to share because that's a spoiler for upcoming episodes. I'm not going to share what I'm going to be using him for, but I do love Knolls. I think they're a really cool race. Yeah, exactly.
I love their little cackle.
Yep.
I know that's a WoW thing, but
well, it's hard to not make comparisons like that.
Yeah.
Like kobolds for me for the longest time were rat folk.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I grew up with Warcraft more than I grew up with D&D, so a kobold was never a
and
in fact, I think old kobolds in earlier editions were rat folks as well. They just changed to kobold or to dragon people in later editions.
I love kobolds from Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I really like their look.
Yeah, they have a really cool like
they're not
gecko-y.
They're not just they're very much like more towards a gecko or other lizard, and not just small dragon. You know.
Yep. Small dragon.
Nothing wrong with being a small dragon.
Nope, Kes is one of my favorite characters.
Little small dragon. Kes is the favorite character.
I think,
or Kilobix, one of the two.
I think Kes is a bit more of a favorite than Kilobix is. Kilobix is the replacement Kes, and nobody likes him.
Someone do a poll. Hurry.
Oh, yeah. If only, right?
Yeah, like check this orange out.
Ooh, pink game. Oh, I like that. You know, with the orange fur and the green hair that we're going to give him, this looks like a TMNT villain.
Okay.
And I'm here for it.
Say, that's not a bad thing. Doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. Orange and blue actually are complementary colors.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, I actually thought about the campaign after this one, just doing a WoW campaign. And just doing like an Azeroth campaign just so that I could take it easy on the world building for a little bit. But TOA has become its own monster. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're going to stick to that world for a little bit.
That would be more of like a side thing. Join our Patreon for it, or something like that.
Yep. Kes is spelled Kes space Kes, in case anybody is curious. So close there, Joe. If he dies, we riot.
I think out of all the characters we've met so far, I think Hug is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like Hug.
He's just such a sweet little guy. He's not little, but
he's a family man now too.
Yeah.
I gave him his happy ending.
He's happy ending. He's got a kid. He's got a little wife.
Yep. A little wife that you're like, you have a kid? You had a kid with an ogre? Okay. Brave.
Reva tried to steal the child, but got stopped. You know.
Kes is a national treasure, and I would vote Hug for president any day. Yeah. They're like, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to write stories, and I'm like, okay, I need to bring a character in that matches this specific archetype, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll just make a new character, whatever. Other times I'm like, I already have a character that really fits this mold, and I can bring them in as a recurring character.
Yeah.
Like, there was a storyline, we technically dropped it, that might come in later, but maybe in like another campaign or something, that I was looking to introduce a druid into, right? Like a druid that calls for their aid kind of thing. And I went, I already have a druid. I'm just going to use Eve's mom again.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's just like, why do I need to come up with a new character if I have one that is going to work fine here?
That's fair.
And yes, it kind of makes it one of those things where sometimes you're just like, oh, the characters that they've met before are suddenly, appearing again and conveniently, but at the same time it's like, no, that's just how stories work. You meet up with people that again in the story.
Say, I don't meet a lot of new people all the time.
True.
I pretty much have my group of people that I spend time with, whether it's family, friends, coworkers, I don't really do a lot of if I was an adventurer and I was traveling, then yeah, I would, but again, every time I travel to that area, who am I going to spend time with? Probably those people I already met.
Yeah, exactly. But if I need to tap a resource in the 8 rings to show up for something, it's typically Lyra, right? Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's probably because they know the party, right?
Yeah.
It's not a random chance of, oh, you're here too. It's like, no, this person is literally coming here to talk to you, But I do like kind of the random occurrence. Like when you guys get to Archdom and Kes is there.
Yeah.
You find the airship there. That's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a very interesting, it's very fun to get to that point because you've built up enough of a supporting cast that you can start slotting them in other places in the adventure and being like, oh yeah, it's just nice to bring back this character and have everybody go, oh, they're back. Oh yeah, that's so great. Yeah. I've got a zillion NPCs to create in the next 10 days or so. 1 zillion NPCs? 1 zillion. I don't know what this is for. It sounds like an epic combat, though, and I'm here for it. If I were a murder hobo, it sounds like an epic combat.
Yes. So many. I can kill a zillion people.
I've actually thought about outsourcing to the Discord to make NPCs myself. Be like, hey, give me a character, guys. You know, let's go. Let's do this. I haven't been using it for the end all be all, but I've been using a character generator. The one that Ginny D talked about in her video when she's talking about like making NPCs quick and easy. Yeah, doing like that kind of dark blue would be great. I use that to generate the character, give me like a name and some quick like traits. And then as I'm reading through their traits, I go, okay, let me build the backstory around this. And that's why a lot of my characters these days have had a little bit more backstory and nuance to them, is because I've been able to outsource part of that without me sitting there going like, okay, I need to come up with 5 guards and their backstories, and I guess we'll just say this one is got a wife and this one has a son and this one
has 2 wives. Yeah, this one has 3 dogs.
And they hate the one with 3 dogs because he doesn't have to worry about dealing with a wife. Take a page from Cory's playbook and reuse people. Also go ahead and create 100+ names and then assign the name to an NPC as needed and just note it down. Exactly.
If you don't have, if you're a DM and you don't have fantasynamegenerator.com bookmarked, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I have to populate Candlekeep. Ooh.
That sounds interesting.
Candlekeep is a bunch of like mages and scholars, right?
Yes.
Well, I would say
I pulled some bad guys from there and had the Aetheris team fight them.
What? Oh, the animated objects.
Yep, the flying books and stuff. Yeah.
Psionic goblins and who taught the bugbears kung fu? The goblins are done. Oh wow. Okay, I'm very interested in how that turns out. I'll make a character for you. I'll make an NPC to put in Candlekeep. I don't know, Brian, if you're on the Discord, but if you are, message me directly and say, hey, make me an NPC.
It'll be on recording.
I mean, if you want to put me on the spot, sure. Okay, so let's see. Let's go with a. I don't know what the race restrictions are for your particular world or in Candlekeep in particular, so we're going to stick with the standard. And let's go ahead and make let's make a dwarf.
Okay.
Yeah. And her name is Millie. Yeah. I'm going to use this one again because I liked this last name. Millie Tenderbeard.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that last name that I used in one of our recent episodes. We're just going to use it again here. And I'm always a big fan of kind of the red hair look. So we could do like the red hair, but let's give her Leia buns. Let's go fucking Moira from World of Warcraft with her look there. I'm gonna say that she is a cleric of. Oh, come on! First god to pop into my head here is Moradin. Is that actually a?
I have no idea. That is the one thing in the game that I struggle with the most, is like remembering the like gods and religion stuff.
So let's see. If Moradin isn't one, we'll say that she's a cleric of. God, I've only got Pathfinder deities in my head right now.
Because that's what you were looking.
Because that's what I've been looking up. Yeah. Somebody give me a god for them to serve. I'm thinking that she's a scholar. Let's see here.
Well, yeah, Candlekeep, they're all scholars, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to say that like her specific scholarly interest is in the history of giants. She's not completely. She doesn't have a hatred of giants. She has an interest in what like the rise and fall of their empire and what really like happened to them and the ordning and all of that stuff. Okay. So it leaves her like she's been studying like giant ruins and the runes that they make.
That's ruins of giants. Ruins
and ruins.
Ruins.
Yes, both actually. Yes. Morse is the named dwarven god in the Faerun pantheon. Yeah, Morse is fine. One of my new players is a female gold dwarf cleric of Dumathoin named Thorin. I'm liking where we're going. Perfect. Yeah, we'll say Morse then. I don't know what Morse's domain is. That's interesting.
Yeah, you got to find out Morse's code.
Yeah, I heard that joke the first time.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about their like code of ethics.
Screw you. Morse? Is that how you spell it?
M-O-R-S-E? That's how I spelled. That's how I spelled it in my head.
Faerun Dwarven Gods. Let's just see. Dwarven Cities, no. Candlekeep is in Faerun, right? That is just a regular Faerun thing? Oh, Moradin. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. Autocorrect ate my text. Okay, yeah. Let's do Moradin then. And I'm gonna say that so originally her clan is not very prominent, and her father's a turnip farmer.
I was gonna say her father's a turnip.
Yep, her father is a full turnip.
Whoa.
No, her father is a turnip farmer, and her mother actually
some giant sorceress turned him into a turnip.
A giant sorceress. I know you said that like as in like specifically a giant, but I was just saying like a big lady. A big lady turned him. No, I'm gonna say that her mother is dead and her father has remarried, but her father has married a human woman.
Okay.
And she was a dancer that came into the clan town, and they fell in love and kind of had a whirlwind romance. And she's not really a big fan because, you know, her mother has been trying to push on her human customs and stuff like that. And she's
freaking stepmoms.
Mm-hmm, yep. And she's definitely not been the type of girl that is typically into that kind of like human femininity that her stepmother's been trying to push on her.
Shave that beard.
She does not have a beard. Dwarf women, in my opinion, don't have beards. That's my. I mean, that's fine if they do, and if she does have one, that's okay too. Yeah, but yeah, it's not mine. Let's see. I'm gonna say that she is so. Besides her interest in giants, she actually has a little bit of a guilty pleasure in the library where she likes to read children's fiction.
Okay.
Where like just because, and it's not a anything other than it's a nice easy read that lets me like pick up some nostalgia and go back to my previous times.
When times were simpler for you. Yeah.
But she started to notice a little bit of an inconsistency between the children's stories that are written down in Candlekeep and the ones that her father told her. Her father told them a different way, and the more research that she does, the more she realizes that the children's stories have been modified to tone down certain aspects of them, and there may be a hidden secret in one of the children's stories that leads to something that somebody tried to bury a long time ago. Other than that, let's just say she's got 3 brothers and a sister, a younger sister. That is more willing to go along with the stepmother's, not I guess machinations, as is probably what she would call it. Mm-hmm. And it's not that her stepmother is evil; it's just that she thinks her stepmother's evil.
Very much a teenage, like I hate you, you know.
Yeah. Sir Gerard, retired monster hunter turned blacksmith and expert on lycanthropy, borrowed from a TikTok I saw, but it sounded fun. Very cool. I like that. Love it. Keep them coming. Brian needs more characters. Very cool. Yeah, having the having a character with a Rune Knight background and one with kind of a dwarven background will be really good in this situation. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. Let's put her in like a. She wears kind of a white dress or white skirt, with kind of a very simple top, and then she has like a red vest over the top itself, or green to match her, to go with her hair, because those two colors always seem to go together when you have red hair. And then I would say that she has like a very big satchel that she carries over one shoulder. So.
kind of like almost like a big book bag.
Yep. And as far as like spells go, most of her spell kit revolves around ease of the library. Moradin's granted her a few like things, and if she needs to, she's got a couple protection spells, but most of it is just like unseen servants to go get her books and to reference and things like that. So like, or however that goes. So I don't know what Moradin's specific domain is, but very cool. The Kung Fu Bugbears was inspired by a YouTube short. Interesting. I do like taking inspiration from other sources, especially when we had a moment last night that I presented you with a giant frog with shifting and twisting eyes, and you immediately started cackling, and I tried to I was just like moving past it, but yes, it definitely was a Hypnotoad that I was going for.
I was like, do I need to roll a wisdom save? Because I will fail this.
Yes.
Bolt will fail this.
Two halflings named Din and Jin who sneak into Candlekeep in a trench coat. Ooh, why are they sneaking into Candlekeep?
Did they get banned?
Yeah.
They got some unpaid library fines.
I kind of like the idea of somebody that's like sneaking in contraband to Candlekeep.
Yeah.
It's a halfling in a trench coat, just one halfling on stilts in a trench coat, and then like between the stilts is all of the contraband kind of like hanging in like a little like rope rack that they've created, a little rope hammock that they've created specifically for that. I do love making a quick character for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not nearly as good as you are at it though.
Well, let's find out. No, I'm just kidding. We won't make you make one unless you want to make one.
No, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm focused.
You're focused on painting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting that
the blue.
You're getting that blue in there. Nice. Stealing the two halflings in a trench coat, cool idea. Or trench coat idea, not cool idea. It is a cool idea, though. Let's see here. Scott, this might be a silly question for you.
Okay.
But do you prefer Theater of the Mind, or do you prefer a miniature battle? I say as you are painting literal miniatures.
Well, yeah, I am biased one way over the other, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I don't know, I just have a lot of fun with like figures and stuff, and of course I went all in on 3D printing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I could see how, if you didn't have a 3D printer and you didn't have the the funds to buy all the minis that WizKids puts out, or whoever, that could be a big deal. One thing that I really love that I think everyone should get into if they want some kind of representation on a battle map, is paper minis.
Oh yeah.
Double-sided paper minis, because anyone with a printer can print them, or you can take it. You can go to like a library and print there, and a couple other places. But I have seen some really cool ones. Someone on one of my Facebook groups was doing like Star Trek RPG ones, and all of their
that's a great place to put that. Yeah,
all of their minis were paper minis, and they looked so good. They were so vibrant and stuff, and they had a lot of like alien trees as paper minis. In the classic like paper where you've got like this, the four-sided, so from whatever angle you could see,
I'm sorry, but every tree in Star Trek is just a normal Earth tree. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's no such thing as alien trees.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that. What about you?
I do see a very good merit for Theater of the Mind at times.
Yeah.
Like specifically in 3D combats, I think that Theater of the Mind is much easier to manage.
Flying or
if you're flying around or underwater, just being like, you are 20 feet away from this person, I get that. However, it is less stress for me as a GM to be like, to know where each individual mini or each individual monster is if we have a mini representation.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to do Theater of the Mind when we first started playing 5th edition, because that was kind of the recommended was Theater of the Mind.
Yeah.
And it very quickly, like within the first couple turns, somebody was like, I need a representation here. I'm kind of like lost.
Yeah. we have a couple friends that struggle with imagination, like imagining stuff, even if it's described.
Yeah.
And one of them, it's like an actual medical condition. They can't picture things in their mind. Like if I describe like, an apple tree on the top of a hill with the sunlight coming up, cresting over the edge of it, and the farmer in a straw hat leaning next to it, like most people would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I understand what that is.
Yep.
They can't at all. They're like, I have no idea. Like,
yeah.
I know
and
what you're talking about, but I can't picture it. And so the RPGs to them, they struggle with them. And so definitely having something on the map, or like even just like artwork, on another like screen or something, or you flip around or pass around and be like, yeah, this is what they look like.
Yep. I love when we're playing games that we're not recording. I love grabbing art references for things and being like, looks kind of like this, and then putting up there, and then everybody gets a good visualization for it. Because I know that sometimes my descriptions are awful. In fact, most of the time, I describe something, and then like literally like 10 minutes later, somebody says, well, I thought it was like this, and I was like, oh no, it's not. And they go, oh, okay, and I was like, well, I didn't describe that very well at all.
Well, sometimes it's on the fly, sometimes it's it gets interrupted with banter or shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
But I can see theater of the mind as a good thing.
I think it works well with boss combats.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about using it the next time we have to do like a big boss fight. But I also love pulling out a really good detailed mini for a boss fight that I've made you print and paint.
Well, and part of that, part of it is we have invested in the ecosystem for miniatures.
Yep.
And so being able to see them on the board, printed out, whatever, that's always awesome to me. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to.
Yeah.
However, this may be like a weird opinion, but I have yet to find someone that
prefers theater
of the mind after being shown what can be done in person with a combat. Yes, there are exceptions, obviously, but so far, like every one of my friends that I've talked to that are like, oh no, I prefer theater of the mind. And then, you whip out a board full of miniatures and terrain and all the other cool stuff, and they're usually like, that is cool. That's way cool,
Yep.
And they end up not necessarily totally changing the tune, but like, oh, that is something that they really enjoy. Yeah.
And that's I think because we are very much, like you said, we're in the mini space.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just natural to pull out a really cool mini or two and place them.
Well, and it's double-edged sword too, because we have done so many awesome minis and stuff that if we come up against a big boss monster and we don't have a cool miniature for it, I could see someone being like, "Oh, no mini? Oh, dang!"
Yep. Yeah, like if we don't get something done on time, because it has happened before where we don't get something painted on time, and we pull out the mini and they're like, "Oh, cool," but it's not the enthusiasm of having like the fully painted boss monster be put on the table kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's definitely a pitfall for sure. So I've been thinking more about what you said about how I need to get into Warhammer. Because I love my army fights and everything.
You do love your army fights.
And I honestly don't want to get into Warhammer.
I don't recommend it to anyone, not because it's a bad game, just because,
it's expensive.
Unless you can second mortgage your house,
However, oh jeez, I need to go take a nap.
Yeah, well,
you think you can handle the last half hour?
Once the session's over.
However, it has got me thinking about making my own version of a army game.
Oh yeah.
And using like minis to run combats like that. However, again, another however on this, I never have anybody that ever wants to play anything other than like D&D.
Plus there are so many like one-page rules and things like that where they're already done for you, Oh, that might have been fun.
What? Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh yeah, that orange and blue works really well together.
Yeah, ignore the brown. The brown is skin tone. Skin tone is not something
that you ever coordinate with.
Yeah. Because skin is skin, Yeah. But
this is definitely like a TMNT animal. What do they call those?
Mutants?
No, they have a specific name in TMNT for what they call animal people.
I don't know.
Furries. No.
Animorphs.
TMNT animal people name.
Should I? Oops, gotta do a little more orange. That's the only problem with these
Mutanimals, maybe?
Mutanimals?
Let's see.
Oozers.
Antagonists.
They're oozers, Corey.
Baxter Stockman created the Mousers.
The Mousers.
Yeah, I love the Mousers. They're so cool.
I got a couple models of them somewhere, floating around the house.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if they have a specific name, but it definitely reminds me of that. And once we get the neon green hair in there too, it's only going to enhance that, and I'm waiting for it. Nice.
Actually,
I have a terrible sense of direction in real life. Min-maxed that stat really badly. Yeah. Yeah, it is nice to, like, theater of the mind means that you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Like, worry about having a map or anything like that. But, again, every game that I've played, I've always ended up, somebody's like, oh, can I get a representation of this? Mm-hmm. And it makes it so much easier.
Well, we were talking about this the other day. I was trying to describe a room to you guys, like a building, and I described the room, and I feel like I did a fairly good job at describing it. However, because there was so much going on, and there wasn't like an active... So when you walk into a room, you're constantly seeing it, right? You're visualizing everything.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was describing it, you guys got the one picture in your head, and then it went...
And then it faded away.
Yeah. Because, you weren't continually playing in that thing. And so I have a feeling that it caused some problems with some of the descriptions for it, because we ran into a few issues where you were like, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, and then you enter in that room and you're like, wait, what? Oh, no. I didn't know that was
I didn't know that this was this,
Yeah, I thought that this was this other thing.
And to be fair, my character is not the type of person who cares about the room anyway.
Right,
so,
but this boils back down to the whole, like, what if I had laid it out or had a map? Mm-hmm. Then you guys would have been able to easily...
navigate around it, without having to worry about it. Yeah, and that is the one good thing about it for sure.
Yeah.
Even just like laying out a quick sketch, of being like, here's a box and here's the side boxes, kind of thing like that.
Well, and the funny thing is, I have a map for that specific thing. I just
didn't get it.
I didn't have it printed out or anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that done before our session. So.
Yeah. I'm so excited. This hair is already looking really good.
By the way, anyone that's new joining us, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun tonight so far. We've got about 25 minutes left or so. Mm-hmm. All right. Good night, Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good one.
Enjoy the evening with the wife, with Mrs. Tanaka Joe. I love that.
Mrs.
Yep.
Yeah, Mrs. Tanaka.
I too will be spending the evening with my wife once this stream is done.
I too will be spending the evening with my computer. Not my wife, but my computer, yes.
Yeah. If she's not tired.
If my computer is not tired, correct.
Yep, if your computer's not tired. Sometimes they get sleepy.
Sometimes they get sleepy and they gotta go to sleep. They have a sleep mode.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a good Friday.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of relaxing time today.
Yeah, we had a good game last night.
Very good game.
It didn't go so late that it was really bad for us.
I mean...
We stayed up.
We stayed up well past that, talking to people afterwards. But, the game ended at a decent time. Tomorrow we're going to go play games with some friends. Mm-hmm. Just some regular board games, which is cool. Sunday I'm going to be spending the day with the wife after spending 3 days of doing stuff without her.
I'll be doing taxes.
You will be doing taxes. It kind of sounds like you have a crappy weekend coming up, or at least half of it.
Yeah.
Random question: when it comes to spell selection, do you pick spells that thematically fit the character, or do you usually find yourself taking staples too much like Fireball and Polymorph? I pick spells that are thematic for the character. Mostly.
I do too, and you'll see some changes to Bolt's spell list coming up here.
Yeah. Personally, there are most of the time I start out with a really hyper specific, like this is the build, this is the type of stuff, and then once we play sessions, I'll be like, okay, my character is learning more and starting to adjust how they think about things, and so like eventually my character might pick up something that's more natural or more like good for the group, like Fireball. But at first, like if they're not a fire wizard, they're not going to pick up something like Fireball. And obviously, like if I'm going with like an ice theme, it's going to be ice. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. That is so cool. Great. But yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with picking the standard spells. There's a reason why mage schools exist, and they probably teach you the basics, right?
Yeah.
Like, here are the best spells.
Here's the tried and true ones that work, 90% of the time for situations.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it is a problem with the system in general.
Well, it's an inherent problem with any game system is some spells are going to be better than others, right?
Yep. There's always the ones that are the best, and then it's like, oh well, if I pick something else, I'm going to be subpar. And
yeah, I might let my friends down or something. Yeah, I was when I was working on the spell list for my character for Pathfinder. I went back and forth like 8 different times trying to determine which spells I wanted, right up until like the last day that we were playing, the day that we were playing. I was still trying to pick my spell list and get it locked in because I was debating between 2 or 3 different themes and whether or not I should go with like a more natural or optimized build to start with, but I ended up going with something that I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah. Got a really fun character. And you guys will see that I want to say shortly, but probably a couple weeks.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we just
get some stuff finished and wrapped up on it. And then...
Yeah, as much as we wanted to get the Pathfinder game out like the week after we played it, we also recognized we need to actually have lives outside of that. So it's kind of taking a bit of a back burner until it's ready. If you need to put it somewhere, why don't you just put it on?
It has to be upside down
you got to let it run.
And they pool really bad or really good, I guess, depending on who you are. And I don't want it in a certain spot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get it to stop pooling in that area. The joys of mini painting. It's like the joy of cooking.
Really tough questions. It's always a series of tough choices. Some spells, if you don't take them, it's a tax on your character. But if they don't fit the theme, they don't feel right. Exactly.
I am going to say it right now. If you have people you play with that are attacking your character because of your choice of spells, don't play with them.
A tax on your character.
Okay.
Tax. Sorry. I did not say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My statement still stands.
Your statement still stands. It's just...
if someone is attacking your character because of the spells you make, screw them.
Yeah.
Don't play with them.
Yep, exactly. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life for sure. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that you should take Fireball if your wizard is not one that does evocation very much, right? If your wizard is I want to focus on abjuration and protecting or summoning spells, then taking Fireball is kind of an antithesis to that.
Yeah.
So you have to just accept that, and that's something that you need to tell your party too. When you're talking about your character when you first create him, be I'm creating a summoner, so don't expect them to be the typical wizard with counterspell, polymorph, and Fireball. But there are some spells that what the heck are you doing?
Just speed drying this.
Oh, okay. There are also some spells that, again, wizards and other spellcasters find as staples.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they are the way they are. Want to see how excited for Pathfinder? Want to see how you adapted to the different rule set? It's been a adjustment.
Yeah, it's been interesting for sure.
Definitely like it's it's a very different system, and it's hard to like it's hard to really like know if I'm actually going to be playing it correctly anytime soon, which bugs me as a person. But it wasn't too bad. I thought I did fine.
Yeah, I thought you did good. I had a lot of fun running it. For
Yeah,
you guys.
It was really good. It was really fun. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually been announced with the Pathfinder thing, but you're the one DMing.
Yep, I'm the DM.
Yep,
I have an announcement video. I just haven't released it.
Oh, that's right. We did
I
record
need
that.
I need
Yeah.
to go and release it. Surprise! Surprise!
Yeah, so we probably should do that like a couple days before we actually release the episode. So yeah. Not that the cat's out of the bag. Colby already announced it on his channel. So.
Oh, I don't think he said who was DMing it though.
Yeah, I don't think he said it was DMing. All dry?
Dry enough. Yeah. Oh.
One of the best wizards I ever saw simply took every ritual spell in the book and was super creative with cantrips, maximize utility and control. Nice. Yeah, my character in Pathfinder is a very big cantrip caster.
Yeah.
With a lot of extra utility
like 8
around
of
it.
them,
I do.
think.
I was able to get it with like 8 different cantrips.
I gotta admit, that's a pretty cool feature of Pathfinder in the whole how many extra cantrips. Because of the 3-action system,
Yeah.
you need something else other than just a bunch of spell slots,
I've also heard that Bon Mot is a really good feat to take.
I don't know what that is.
So what it is you insult somebody as an action, and it gives them, if they fail their save, it gives them like a -2 on some saving throw stuff, and makes it easier to hit them with spells, like charm spells and whatnot.
It's not like not intimidate. What was the other? Another feature.
There is like an intimidate option that you can do for an action that makes them scared of you but it's like harder if they can't understand you.
Yeah.
Unless you have like certain feats to it.
That's one thing that I thought was kind of cool too, because the system or game that I am running right now, there's a part where it's like these creatures, they start making a bunch of noise at your players, but if your players don't understand them, they don't know what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the creatures are trying to get them to do something, and trying to convince them to it, but then they only speak under common or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a clever use of that kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, well, I don't understand what you're saying, so.
Yeah. So there's some discussion about making a fire-themed character, but having most common resistance being fire-themed, which sucks. So somebody mentioned Richard mentioned the elemental adept feat, which prevents resistances. Mm-hmm. Right, it basically means that your fire is so good that it burns even fire-based creatures.
That's cool.
And I was thinking about it and being like, how do you describe something like that? Because like burning a fire elemental isn't something that you could do. But then taking fire away because you are a master of fire and you're like pulling it from them. That is a great way to flavor that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Like, I really like the idea of poison characters, but poison is very like. That's like one of the biggest immunities is to poison, kind of in D&D, and it's like poison isn't even that prevalent among players.
Yeah.
Well, and it's weird to
possibly it's mostly like a rogue thing,
Yeah.
Like a lot of rogues use it on their blades and stuff, but yeah, I mean, Bolt's got poison immunity, Paladins have poison immunity, or at least resistance.
But even like monsters, a lot of monsters have poison immunity and resistance.
And that's weird. Like, I understand like magic, special magics to make you poison resistant, but like, I mean, animals get poisoned just as much as humans do, if not more.
Yep.
Because at least as a human, like, hey, I should not eat that mushroom.
Yeah, and I think part of it, like, it's either just oh yeah, well, a lot of mythological creatures are resistant to that kind of stuff, so that's what they're basing it off of. And it could also be a matter of being poisoned, having the poison condition is pretty brutal, actually, because it is literally disadvantage on, like, all checks and whatnot, Like, it is not a fun time to go with. So, doing that to a monster when you already have action economy problems, can be an issue there.
Yeah, and I like to give a lot of my monsters extra actions too, even if they're not very high-end monsters, just because of action economy problems.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you put your players up against the 4 versus 4, and they end up killing one of them, and now it's 3 versus 4, that's okay. I think that's fine. Like, they have worked. They earned that.
Yeah.
But like when it's like, oh hey, go up against this one Hydra, and your players are like, all right, all 6 of us get to go, and the Hydra's dead before you get to go. And it's like, okay, well no, the Hydra, but that's why I use my the system I use for what do you call it? Initiative.
Yeah, where you put the biggest monster up at the top.
Yep, I take whatever's like the head monster. Sometimes it's one big monster and a bunch of minions. Other times it's like maybe it's 3 drakes, and I'm just gonna pick one of them, and I'm gonna roll against the party, and whoever, if it's a boss monster, I usually have hopefully they can go faster because they do have a higher initiative. But anyway, I usually put them in order of, so whoever on the player side rolled higher, they get it. Then a Drake, then another player, then another Drake, then another player, then another Drake, and then whatever else after that.
Yeah, and then space it out so it's not just 3 people attacking.
Everyone's doing something.
And honestly, it can be brutal the other way too. If three enemies go and the barbarian is the only one forward, and they all attack the barbarian, that barbarian could be having a bad time.
Yes.
It
could be a dead barbarian.
Yeah, fire resistance or resistances being a specific amount that it resists is a better system in my opinion, rather than just they take half damage. Like half damage is easier to remember, and that's why 5th edition did that. Is just basically like, let's just do half damage across the board. Don't have to worry about that. But having a creature that's like resistance 5 or resistance 10 is a lot cooler in my opinion, and it definitely makes for a more interesting fight and encounter. What the? Oh, piece of my mustache.
Piece of your mustache in your mustache?
Yep, piece of my mustache in my mouth. That's always fun. Let's see. Oh, so this is off topic, but I wanted to ask you something. I've been watching people play the video game Grounded.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, it's a video game where you wake up the size of ants.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game, and you have to run around and it's like a base building survival game where you're fighting bugs all the time, and you have to defeat bugs and make armor out of them, that kind of thing. It's really cool. Like even though it's just really cool. Yeah. There's no even though. Yeah. But I was watching the game, and I was watching them die over and over to bugs, and there's even a koi in the pond that's nearby that swallows them whole basically if it sees them, and all I could think of is if I spent any amount of time as a bug-sized person, if I ever got big again, the likelihood that I would destroy that entire backyard and burn it to the ground and pave it over with cement would be very high. And I don't would you think you'd feel the same way?
So you mentioned this one time before, and what was my instant reaction was
yeah, flamethrower.
Flamethrower noises,
Yep.
Because I absolutely would feel the same way. I'd be like, no, I just got attacked by every bug in the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Sorry.
I'm done with having a yard.
Nature sucks, and I don't want to be in it anymore. Yeah.
I would definitely. I'd be like, I'm zero-scaping everything, and by zero I mean I'm making nothing else alive.
So, on that kind of same vein of small people in a big world, right? I had come up with a concept of something happens that causes humanity, the remnants of humanity, to shrink down, an apocalypse situation that causes whoever's left over to see large humans, the bones of large humans as titans that used to roam the earth.
Okay.
And they're
now
shrinking
physically?
They're 6 inches tall was kind of what in my head, in this story idea that I had, they'd be 6 inches tall, and it'd be different stories about how different types of these little people survive in a post-apocalyptic world that used to be ruled by humans. Because I always thought shrinking everybody down would be the way to conserve resources, right?
There's a whole movie about that.
And it came out literally 3 years after I came up with this concept.
Sure.
Downsizing or down whatever it's called.
Downsizing.
And I was like, yeah, well, that's pretty much what I thought. And I hate when that happens, where I'm like, this is a really fun idea. Maybe I'll do something with it someday, and then it happens like somebody else does something with it independently.
I like when we come up with ideas for our game, and then we have done them, and our episodes are already out, and then Critical Role starts their campaign 3, and they do similar or nearly identical things.
Like a monster that looks the same, we're like, oh yeah, we did that.
Where's the hidden cameras? You know?
I would become an exterminator on principle, says Bosco in regards to Grounded. Yeah. But yeah, I always thought like so the original concept would have been they would eventually have figured out that like humans died like in mass, a plague or some like Earth killed them, right?
Yeah.
Because I would have to have a magic twist to it, because I always like to throw like a little bit of like magic in to my worlds.
How else would they become 6 inches tall?
Exactly. But the humans die, and from their bodies spring forth like the tribes of the 6-inch tall versions of humanity, right? And then like during that time, the animals get suffused with more intelligence by this same magic, right? And so like the original concept to me, it was actually after we were I had gone up to Yellowstone for the first time, and I was thinking about how cool it would be to have like the main stage take place in Yellowstone and have it be this like tribe of people that kind of like followed and worshipped a wolf mother and her cubs kind of thing, and having to go through. And then I was thinking, like, because I thought it would be really cool.
We just watched Willow a couple months ago. So it's like the Brownies.
Yeah, it's like the Brownies. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, basically the size of Brownies.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I thought Yellowstone would be cool is because I thought having tribes living on the backs of bisons. That just like as like and with like full on like lift systems to get up there and everything.
There was a game that just came out, and I just got notified on Steam that it was on sale. And it is basically that, where you are trying to build.
Oh yeah, it's
a civilization on the back of like some giant like kaiju.
Yeah, I watched Julian Jacob from Drawfee play it actually. Yeah, I watched that stream. And it's really cool because you're also like you eventually get to help it navigate, and sometimes it'll listen to you, and other times it won't. Because you're trying to keep it out of like radiation zones and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a notification that was like, this game that you put on your wish list is on sale.
Your muses are double agents. Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. If you're ant-sized, you could build a space colony for you and fire you up there pretty easily. Small amount of O2 would last you a long time. No bugs up there. Very true.
Starship Troopers would like a word with you. The Zerg would like a word with you. No bugs up there. Come on.
Yeah.
Would you consider the Xenomorph from Aliens kind of a bug? That's very bug-like features.
Yeah, true. But if you were also small, your lungs would be very small.
Yeah, the smaller you get, the harder it becomes to breathe, right?
Mm-hmm. Because that's why like a lot of bugs, they have like a different way of breathing than
air. They don't actually have lungs; they have like tubes.
Yeah,
and air just like diffuses into their bloodstream and their body.
Yeah, because air is bigger, and that's why like in Ant-Man, when they shrink down, they were wearing the suit and the mask because. Yeah. Like that's supposed to be you shrink down the oxygen with you, yeah.
They ignore it after a bit.
Yeah, I mean obviously, but I don't think I've ever seen Ant-Man shrink down to have his mask off, or be big.
Just when he quantum realms, right?
Yeah, actually, I think. Yeah, I mean, I guess when they're in the quantum realm, they are technically shrunk down, but the quantum realm is different rules.
It has tiny air as well.
Yep. But yeah, so anyway, that's an old story of mine that I had in my head.
That's an older Cory story, but it checks out.
And like eventually they would have to be, the main plot would revolve around like one of them is one of the animals is sick and they have to go find it medicine.
Oh, yeah.
And so they go searching through the ancient ruins of the Titans kind of thing, which would essentially just be like a visitor center that they have to find like some antibiotics in or something like that. But then I was like, oh, it would be really cool if the guardians of those ruins are the old like gift shop toys and stuffed animals that have come to life and everything like that. You know,
so mixing a little Toy Story in.
Yep, exactly, a little Toy Story-esque kind of thing. And then like thinking about like other places that would have to deal with that is you would have like a lot more like city dwellers that would have to deal with different animated objects type thing than that, and what kind of the difference would be for people who woke up in a world where you were basically in the middle of Titan ruins the entire time, and how your society would build differently. I don't know, just like different interesting things that I've thought of along the way. Got about 5 more minutes here.
Well, I won't be done, but
that's all right. We've got them half done. They look great. I've had a lot of good conversations tonight, and I've enjoyed everybody coming out and hanging out with us.
Yeah,
it's always a good time.
I have a blast doing this.
Yeah, it is a really, really fun time every Friday that I get to sit here and stream and bullshit with you guys and girls and others. Everyone,
y'alls.
I've been trying to use y'all more.
No.
Hey y'all, instead of ladies and gentlemen and others. Bugs are just so alien looking to us. We apply their alienness to our images of actual aliens. It's true. Like when you want to have an alien race that looks wicked and crazy, they're bugs with hive minds. Yeah.
The thing that's like most alien to me is octopus.
Oh,
those are like freaking aliens on the planet right now,
Yep. And that's something that in when I write alien races, I try not to just fall into the trap of doing they're like lion people. Yeah. They're like bird people, like I try and be like, oh yeah, they have green skin, they have 3 or 4 eyes depending on, how many years they've been alive or whatever.
They
always have one eye.
Always have one eye.
Yep. I apparently have a cyclops fetish. It's that's my thinly veiled author kink.
Yeah. And we're back to the beginning, full circle.
All hell our future cephalopod overlords. I know they're already using tools and making homes. We're gonna see someday.
People are 3D printing little hats for them.
Yep. One thing that I've always found curious, because there's a lot of talk about like how raccoons are smart.
Yeah.
And they're getting to the point where you can almost start seeing like higher brain function from them, and crows, that kind of thing. And it always gets me thinking, like, if a race gained sentience to the point that they could actually like speak language and like learn language and talk with us, I'm like, I wonder how that would go for like us basically being able to elevate a race and bring them up to our technology level. And then I go, oh wait, humans have a bad track record with things that are different, even minorly different.
Yeah.
So
just other humans alone, we've not been too kind to,
As a Southerner, I appreciate your use for the correct second person plural for English. You're welcome. We are Midwesterners, so y'all isn't something that we're unfamiliar with as well.
Yeah, it happens here.
Yep. Bugs and reptiles. Yeah, bugs and reptiles are absolutely evil alien go-tos. Cephalopods are more for like the weird races. Like Discovery had that giant race of
overlords.
Yeah, basically overlords these days.
Yeah, overlords from StarCraft.
My first question is always, do they have thumbs? Is that when talking about aliens or just talking about sapiens in general? Do you have thumbs? Sorry, can't come in. This is a thumbs only club. You have too many other fingers? Sorry, you only have thumbs.
What if they only have thumbs?
Only have thumbs?
What if they're all thumbs?
What
if they are literally made out of like a collection of thumbs?
Like the Spy Kids minions?
The thumb minions?
The thumb minions?
No,
yeah.
What if it's a bunch of, normal sized thumbs, but they've all collectively joined together as a colony?
Welcome. It's a thumbs club. You can come in. Yeah. Like, there's one requirement, and it's you have thumbs.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Elevating a species to sentience. Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, that's going to be, like, if we encounter, like, if we find out that octopuses actually can start speaking to us, in some way or another, it's going to be an interesting... I would love to see another species evolve to the point that it is...
Coevolution.
Yeah, basically, that we have a coevolution on our planet. But I know exactly how it would go because humans are assholes. I'm sorry. We're a bunch of...
I would love that too. I would love to be able to just start speaking to, find a species that already has a language,
Yeah.
whales, dolphins, whatever, and figure out how they speak. Even if it's just like super rudimentary, they're just like, hello, need food.
Yep. And I know that
Want
you
to
can
play,
you can teach a monkey sign language and everything, but
but you can't take it to water and make it drink.
But I don't want another monkey species. We have enough monkeys on this planet. I think that is where we're going to call it. Let's get one last look at what you've done here tonight.
Okay. One last thing.
Only Thumbs is an expensive subscription. Very cool. I love that you did the orange around the necklace and the wrist guards as well.
Yeah, so that it's like I picked like a yellow to do like almost like a hemp rope style.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see these guys finished. And then the other one is just the same except for you hadn't done
just on the stand. I haven't done the skulls.
The skulls, yeah.
Just started working on all the bone.
Very cool.
All the bone stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We had a fantastic time, and I hope you did too. And we will be back Wednesday with a new episode. Again, prepare for a whirlwind of craziness and chaos, because it is going to be chaos probably for a couple episodes now.
Chaos incarnate for a little bit. Yeah.
Yep. So I hope you enjoy it. I know I will, as the resident master of chaos. But until then, we will see you soon.
All right. Bye.